Coming up on Tech News today, Amazon lets you test drive apps right from your phone. Verizon wants to be the video portal on your phone. And Amex just wants you to get Farmville credits for paying them way too much money. All that and stuff better than a kick in the head. Next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Tuesday, May 22nd, 2012. Tech News Today is brought to you by Ford, featuring all-electric and hybrid electric technologies. Learn more about the technologies Ford is bringing to its vehicles at Ford.com/technology. And by ShareFile. Enhance your workflow, send files of almost any size easily and securely with ShareFile, brought to you by Citrix. Try ShareFile today. We have a great offer to get you started. A 30-day free trial plus get double storage. To get this great offer, visit ShareFile.com, click the radio microphone, and enter our promo code TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz Akhtar.
And I'm Jason Howell.
And joining us today, we're happy to have back on the show Father Robert Ballecer from the TechStop.net.
Thank you for having me back. I didn't think you'd let me back in the house after that last time.
Thank you for coming all the way
close.
across
All
the
is
continent.
forgiven.
That fire wasn't your fault.
I know. I swear it wasn't me. It was replicant.
It wasn't. It was a small fire, really. It was nothing. Let's start off with the big news of the day that we totally expected to happen soon, but it happened a little sooner than we expected. Larry Page announced on the blog today of Google that they officially own Motorola Mobility.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's a boy.
And it's a lot of people. Apparently, Dennis Woodside, as we expected, has been named president or CEO of Motorola, taking over from Sanjay Jha. That was rumored back in February and happened. Dennis Woodside was most recently president of the Americas region for Google, so he was looking for a new challenge, apparently, and now he's got one. Motorola will remain independent for now. That's probably because Google wants to maintain good relationships with other hardware manufacturers, but also because Motorola posted a wider first quarter loss in its last report as an independent company. And that actually can be a benefit to Google on their taxes because they can claim that as a loss now. So that's something to keep in mind when you wonder what's going to happen with Motorola next. But what do we think is going to happen? Round the horn. Sarah, start with you.
Okay.
Google, here's kind of
my cynical self says Google wanted those patents. Google will retain the patents.
I think that goes without saying.
And sell off the rest of the company. And a lot of people are going to lose their jobs.
How long?
How long until this happens?
Until they sell the company.
Well, I don't really see it behooving them to keep a company that's posting losses around any longer than they have to over the next 12 months. That's the cynical side of me. The less cynical side thinks, gosh, could they really figure out how to use Motorola's device manufacturing knowledge to make something better than we've seen from the Google TV arm thus far? That's what I would like to see. I just sort of doubt it.
Iyaz, what do you think?
I'm agreeing with Sarah. I think they're going to flip it. They're going to keep the patents.
Put in new countertops.
We'll see the Motorola retains licenses to these patents, and we'll see that
coat of paint on the cabinets.
Yes, there will be a big coat of paint on that giant M bat wing thing. It's going to look slightly different, but I'm figuring they're going to sell this company after a certain amount of time, for probably just tax purposes as well. Like, okay, why are we going to switch this? Because it's advantageous for this year. Next year will probably be gone. I don't think they know what to do with the consumer hardware division. I don't think that they want to be in competition with their other hardware partners, because no other company has ever been able to successfully do this. Because I remember asking around on Google+, has any company that licenses out their operating system that also makes its own hardware that competes with its partners? And there was nothing.
So you don't think that Google ever was like, if we had more of a hand in these Logitech devices or these Sony devices that the Google TV was running on that didn't really work out the way they were supposed to, it would have been better?
It could be possible, kind of like the way Microsoft has an Xbox, that kind of thing. Maybe I just don't see them continuing to do set-top boxes, phones, and the like. Maybe they would keep a bit of the technology. And I just can't see them doing hardware because their marketing isn't exactly, hey, we're consumer friendly. It's Just go to the website.
I want to take a contrarian view and say, look,
finally.
Okay, yeah, of course, they're taking it's a charitable donation. They're going to take a tax write-off on the loss from Motorola. They're going to accept thousands of patents that they're going to use to defend themselves from Apple and from Microsoft. But I don't think this is just a throwaway. I think what Google is seeing is, Android is doing great. They're making a huge amount of market share, but they're not making that much money off of Android. It is chump change what they're making off of that platform. If they have the hardware, if they can actually control the hardware, and Motorola makes some decent hardware, even though they've got some very anti-consumer elements to it, you could see them conceivably saying, we don't want to go the way of Microsoft where, you've got a preferred platform, but then you share the OS with everybody else. We want the iPhone. We want what Apple has. And they could do that with Motorola.
I think I think somewhere between what you're saying and what these guys have been saying, Dennis Woodside has been given the task of sprucing this company up and seeing what he can do with them. I think Larry Page is believable when he says we want to keep them independent because he doesn't want to risk those relationships with Samsung and HTC and others. But I think he knows that Woodside is the guy who can turn Motorola into a top competitor. One of the criticisms of Motorola Mobility is that they let a lot of their good engineers go. And all of a sudden they're Google. Now they can maybe entice a lot of those engineers back or maybe even bring some of the engineers over from Google to work for Motorola. Get that handset business in a top situation, sell it off to Huawei maybe 2 years from now when it's in better situation and they can make more money off it. And then I think they keep the set-top box division and fold that back into Google as part of the Google TV organization. I think they end up holding on to that and they sell off just the handset business. And of course, as everyone has agreed, they keep the patents.
If they stay in the set-top box business, that means they're going to have some continued or new relationships with cable companies, which could be advantageous to Google in general. Because Motorola, if a lot of cable boxes are provided by Motorola, so maybe they have the right personnel to help Google get some other contracts for other content. It could just be an interesting set of months ahead.
Yeah, and what they can do with Motorola, what's interesting is Motorola just announced at the cable show a piece of software, not a box, but a piece of software that improves search on an existing set-top box. And it very much sounds like what Google TV is aiming. I think they merge those two things together because Google doesn't want to make the hardware. They want to make the software, and Motorola's got that. They merge it into Google TV, and they come up with a product there.
And people still get laid off.
Oh, yeah. People are getting laid off in all these scenarios. I think you can probably count on that. Amazon has got a new feature for you in their Amazon App Store, something they've been doing on the web for a while, but now you can do it on your device, which is test drive an app. The service only works on some devices. It doesn't work on the Galaxy S2, for instance, or the Nexus, but they say they'll be rolling it out to more and more devices as they go along. But the updated Amazon App Store, for some, will show you a test drive button under the app listing in the store. You click that button, and then it starts running on the EC2 servers, Amazon's big cloud servers, with the inputs being sent to the server and video and audio being sent back to the device. Probably some of their learning from Silk, the browser that they run on the Kindle Fire, allows them to do this. And then people can try out the app without having to download it, without having to pay for it and go through getting a refund, without having to go to the web and try to play with it on the website where it's not exactly the same experience. Now, the apps that are available for this are not all available for a test drive either, even if you have the phone. Apps that require the Java native interface, that require the keyboard, that require multi-touch, microphone, camera, gyroscope, near-field communication, or GPS are not currently enabled for test drive. But they are going to roll those features into test drive eventually so that as many apps as possible will be available. So it's early days. This is in beta, but what do we think?
Even in this early implementation, it's something that app stores should have. I mean, Apple does this weird thing where it's like you either have a light version or you have a full version. There's no like trial thing and then make it another version of the application. Google does that thing where it's like I think you have 15 minutes to say that was an accidental.
That's all you get.
15 minutes ago, that was an accidental purchase. I think this will probably help a lot of those app developers that are like, look, our product is really good. Just try it out. It's going to be something you like. It's just something that I'm kind of surprised didn't exist in app stores until now. So the fact that Android's open enough that you can have an alternative app store from Amazon that gives you this option, I like where this is going.
Well, and it gets people to go to Amazon to try things out, and then they're like, well, I'm already at Amazon. Here's where I'm going to buy my app from.
Yep.
Amazon's the place where you get to see everything ahead of time. Cool. That's easy.
I'm on my device. I'm
Yeah.
using it on my device.
Exactly.
I might as well download it.
Yeah, this is a long time coming. The only problem is I can't do it on my phone, and I can't do it on some of the most popular Android phones that are out there.
Yet.
And yes, I know it's early days, but that list of features that you can't do yet, I mean, those are all the cool features. Those are all the features that I would actually want to buy an app for.
But they are going to roll those features in. It's just right now they just launched it.
They just launched it, but I mean, it makes me wonder, why would you launch a product or a service that is fundamentally crippled? Unless you just wanted to create a lot of buzz.
You create a lot of buzz and you get a lot of people to test it so that it
They
gets
break
more
it.
robust.
Yeah.
As, that's the idea of putting stuff out in beta.
Yeah, okay, I can
There's a
see
lot of
that.
productivity apps that don't take advantage of things like multi-touch or the GPS or the camera. You're just more concerned about, like, how does this thing act, how is Evernote? I mean, it's a free application, but there's certain applications out there. I know I've looked for new calendar applications all the time, and they cost money. I'm like, I don't know if I want to put $5 into this and go, oh, it's awful. But you don't really need those particular things. I think Amazon says they have 5,000 apps that are available to test out. So I don't know if it's crippled right off
It's
the bat.
actually a beta. I think that's what you're reacting to. We're so used to beta being slapped on things that just aren't quite done yet but are perfectly serviceable. This is actually a beta.
There's actually something else, though, which this is something that the geek in me really likes. This is virtualization on your Android phone. And you could take this to extremes. I mean, you could essentially have supercomputing on your handset. And Amazon is prototyping the software to do that.
And they've got the hardware to do it.
And they've got the hardware to do it.
Yeah.
They've got all the existing server farms. If you now have the ability to tap into far more power than exists on your handset, yeah, it's cool. I could test out apps, but there's nothing that would stop Amazon, once this is perfected, from flipping the switch and say, oh, and by the way, you now have the most powerful computer on the planet in your phone.
Yeah, we are now, forget on live.
Right.
We're they can be well beyond
Yeah.
that very quickly. Verizon wants you to watch all your video on Verizon mobile devices, and they've got a new service to entice you.
Yeah, and it's really catchy, too. You want to know what it's called?
What's it called, Sarah?
Viewdini.
Like Houdini.
Kind of,
'cause it's
except it's for
magic,
viewing.
Or it escapes from straitjackets.
Either,
One of the
both.
two. Yeah.
It's really, really good. Okay, so no, I'm kidding about the last part.
No, but it is called Viewdini. You're
It
not
is
kidding
called
about that.
Viewdini. It's just not going to escape out of straitjackets that we know of yet. The National Cable and Telecommunications Association's cable show is happening in Boston right now. So there was a panel with a few folks, CNBC reporter, the actor and director Ed Burns, Vivo CEO Rio Cardiff, Verizon Wireless CEO Dan Mead, and Neil Smith, CEO of Comcast. What were they talking about? Well, Mead announced a new service called Viewdini, and it's supposed to make finding and viewing video on mobile devices easier. Okay.
Great.
So
That
how does
sounds
that
awesome.
work? Well, they've partnered up with one service partner basically first. It's just Comcast, Xfinity to start. They do have other launch partners, content partners like Hulu Plus, MSpot, which is Samsung's cloud entertainment service, and Netflix out of the gate. Okay. All right. So you find and you access TV and movies on services like the ones I just mentioned, plus TV sites, content from cable TV operators. You can search for titles, for example. You can see if that episode of whatever show is available for streaming. Maybe it's at no additional charge because you already pay for Xfinity cable. If it's available by subscription, if it's available to rent versus purchase. Here's the thing, though. Limited partners to start off with, and only available on 4G LTE Android devices later this month. So I was like, hey, cool, I have Verizon.
Oh, you have an iPhone?
I have an
Sorry.
iPhone, so
Yeah.
it doesn't. They say other device platforms will be available soon. That means probably not very. Although it will be a free app from the Google Play Store. Now, it's easy to be like, oh, God, what is this? Just some new app where you search for stuff and it's just one more skin that looks very Verizon-like. But I do like the idea if there are multiple places that I might be able to find a show. Right now, it is very convoluted. Is it on Hulu? Is it on Netflix? Is it on Amazon? I know Amazon's not part of this group off of the bat, but I'm constantly asking this question of where's the best deal? Where can I rent something rather than buy it? Is it in HD over here or
Do you
1080p?
turn to your phone for that, or do you turn to the device you're trying to watch the show on?
Well, I turn to, right now I've pretty much only got one device, and that's my Roku, where I can compare and contrast right there in one interface. But I'd like to have other options. And
I
I'd
don't
certainly
wanna
like
watch
to
it
have
on my
options
phone.
that are better.
But Clicker already does this on the web. If you're going to turn to a second device, why wouldn't you just go there on the web instead of needing a Verizon? I'm not quite seeing the need for this app.
It could be the fact that, I mean, only a certain group of people know about Clicker, and you're searching it out. Versus if you have your Verizon phone, you're like, hey, I want to look up something. It's built into that. And how many people have Verizon phones? Millions and millions of these things are out there. And the fact that they're limiting it to just LTE devices, of course, it's Android only because the only LTE devices are Android on Verizon at this point. You want a fast connection there if you're going to do video at all. Because if you're going to go, oh, great, I'm going to be able to watch Netflix, and it's going to stutter and crap out on me because I'm on some like 3G or like less than that coverage area. I think it's just their first step. Like this seems like it's something necessary because how fractured online content is, because of those other deals. This isn't something that I don't think any one of us wants to manage. Go, okay, where is it? Is it Amazon? Is it iTunes? Is it this place? Who cares where it is? If Verizon can actually have a smart search engine, I think that's cool. The issue I have with this is that you're going to be eating up your data cap right away. Like, great, I can find video content really fast.
No, but you're not, because you're not going to watch video on your phone.
Yeah, I'm with Tom there. I mean, I would hope that Verizon has learned their lesson from Vcast, and they've realized people don't want to watch on even with something like a Galaxy Note. You're not going to want to watch your content on a tiny little screen.
What if it's on an iPad?
Or that's an Android tablet, sure.
I think that's what's
I
going to
mean,
migrate.
it doesn't have to
migrate
be
to
the
that.
tiniest little phone ever.
Right.
But I'd rather watch it on my television.
Well, sure, but what if you're not in your living room?
Well, there's a lot of like, well, you just have to be on Verizon, and you just have to have an Android device,
Sure.
and you just have to be wanting to watch video on that device, and then this is perfect for you. I don't know. It just seems pretty
And it's
narrow.
not really Verizon's network. It's a Verizon portal for other networks. So
Yeah, right now it's just Comcast.
If this was any other company, I might actually have some hope for the app. But is there anyone here who doesn't think that Verizon is going to find some way to screw this up?
I think they've learned their lesson with Vcast. I don't think because
so?
I saw the UI. It didn't look so bad. And the other thing is Verizon Wireless is testing out 4G like as your home network, your LTE network, and your home. So I'm like, that's kind of, I could see this going somewhere. Like if you have an Android set-top box, you can go ahead and use that. But that's again another future thing. I think this is basically one giant test.
I mean, I see it being better than a kick in the head, but not much.
It's better than Verizon beating me up.
I will rate it. I will
gym.
rate it better than a kick in the head. All right, let's take
That's a fact.
Let's take a quick. That's an objective fact. Let's take a quick break and thank our sponsor, Ford, featuring all electric and hybrid vehicle technologies. 2 new vehicles Ford's bringing to electric technologies. You've heard us talk about them: the 2012 Ford Focus Electric and the 2013 C-Max Energy Plug-in Hybrid. Both models make use of that regenerative braking system, which can capture back over 90% of the kinetic energy lost in conventional engines due to heat and friction. System sends that energy back to the battery for later use, so you don't have to charge the battery as often. Also includes Sync with My Ford Touch EV, features to help you maximize your range, find out how much charging you need to do on the battery, whether it's charged, how far you can go on the charge that you have, remotely control preconditioning settings, and even find out the best times to charge your car so you're taking advantage of the best rates. Get those off-peak rates that are overnight. That's value charging powered by Microsoft. It's an all-electric vehicle without a gasoline engine. I'm talking about the 2012 Ford Focus Electric. Fully charges in 3 to 4 hours through a 240-volt charging port, and you can get that for the Leviton charging station for your home. 100% electric, zero CO2 emissions, has a lithium-ion battery, and allows you to top off a charge without reducing the lifespan of the battery. The 2012 Ford Focus Electric is available for reservations now, and the 2013 Ford C-Max Energy Plug-in Hybrid is coming fall 2013. Of course, specs are subject to change, especially the farther out from release you are. If you want to keep up on the latest, learn more about the electric technologies Ford is bringing to vehicles at Ford.com/technology, and we thank them for their support of Tech News Today. Onward with a sidecar. This is a new smartphone app. It's got a lot of buzz.
Yeah, right now, so there's an iOS and Android app that's available for free right now. Now, what Sidecar does, it allows you to call other Sidecar users for free. And that doesn't sound like that's exciting. There's a lot more hooks to this. The gimmick is that Sidecar allows you to share live video, photos, locations, and contact info while you're talking, all in one app. So you're not constantly jumping out of the application to show your location or show your...
Having to put somebody on hold
Right.
so that you can look up a phone number or something in your contacts.
Or like, what's my multitasking feature? Do I double-click the home button? Do I swipe? It's all in one application. It allows you to call North American numbers for free over Wi-Fi. So that's something Skype doesn't do. You have to have Skype out for that. Video functionality is similar, but the default on Sidecar is to show the rear cam because the idea is I want to show you what I'm seeing, not necessarily have a video call, because that's not what they're positioning themselves at.
But you could use the front-facing camera?
You can tap the screen, and you can flip the camera if you want. Sharing contacts is simple. I tested this out. You don't have to copy and paste information. You're not trying to figure out what field to do. You just send it with one click. It also has this whisper function, which is kind of neat. Basically, you kind of IM while you're on a phone call. So if I'm showing...
Just talk really slow.
That's right. So if you want to just say, like, yes, everything is fine, but you're like, I'm being held captive. I mean, you could do that in the same call. There's currently... So, like, okay, what's the gimmick? There's no ads in the app either. So it's got a lot of cool features already. Here's the one spammy thing. When you call using the application, it sends an SMS invite to Sidecar to the person you're contacting.
Well, that's because they want to route the call from app to app. They don't want to pay to route it over the POTS system directly to a phone. So I get why they're doing that. It's a little spammy.
There doesn't seem to be a way to turn it off either. So, like, if your friend already has this, already seen that once or twice, well, they're going to keep seeing it.
The interesting thing about this, I mean, look, Skype does most of this. Yes, this doesn't have any ads, and I've played with the app. It's actually pretty slick. It's nice, but I think the no ads is, for me, that's the key, because this company did a hard pivot. It was socialized back in 2011, and it didn't get that much attention. I mean, it was okay, it was a decent app, but it didn't capture that lightning in a bottle. So the founders essentially scrapped Socialize, and they turned it into Sidecar. Now they do have lightning in the bottle, and they have no ads, but you know they at some point they have to monetize this. So they're in this stealth mode where they're just trying to build up a bunch of followers. They're trying to build out the network by sending those text messages to every person who ever receives a call, so that you've got a bunch of phones running Sidecar, and then boom, they turn on the advertising. There's their monetization.
And I think the thing that's got people talking about this is the fact that I can share all this stuff without leaving the app.
Right.
I can send the photos, I can send the videos, and I don't have to say, "Oh, hold on, let me find my messaging app, and then let me send you this photo. I had to take the phone on. Oh, did I lose you? Are you still there?" It's all in the app, and doesn't seem that big of a deal, but it's kind of whiz bang when you use it.
Yeah, when I was testing it out, just showing like, oh, it's in the location. I know you can do this with FaceTime, you can do this with Skype, but it's not. It's like you're saying, Tom. It's like you're not jumping out, and you're not worried about. Are you also on this network? Are you on iMessage, or should I be using my MMS messenger? Should I be using this or that? It's one thing.
I like this. There are a lot of apps that I've started using first because I wanted to just stop using SMS and try to just use my data. Facebook Messenger, for example, Pairs, another example. But it's like these apps already are getting better. So it's like, well, you're texting, but you can also send a picture. And in some cases, you can also like draw a little picture or something like that. And none of those have voice capabilities. So this is where Sidecar seems like the all-in-one where others fall short if you like talking on the phone.
Now, if you like phones, you're probably interested in the Samsung Galaxy S3. And good news, those of you in Europe, yeah, you can get it May 29th. Just go walk into the store in Germany. You're fine. But the rest of us need another way to get this hot phone, if we want it. And Amazon's now taking U.S. pre-orders. They'll deliver it to you June 1st. That's right. Flagship Android device in your hands for the low, low price of $800.
Oy.
This is unlocked, of course. No subsidy. That's the real price of phones. Don't hide the phone with a subsidy. Pay full price. Mortgage your house. 16 gigabyte SIM-free international version of the S3. You can get blue or white. It's the GTI 9300 if you're looking for the model number. 4.8-inch display, gig of RAM, 8-megapixel camera. And because you're getting the international unlocked version, it's the 1.4 gigahertz quad-core Exynos processor, not the dual core that you'll get here in the United States, where they have to use a different chip to be compatible with the LTE chips. But there's the downside. No LTE. This is an unlocked phone meant for world use. Doesn't have the same radios that you need to access AT&T's LTE network or Verizon's LTE network for that matter. So it's only going to work on HSPA Plus on AT&T and Edge on T-Mobile. Don't laugh.
Why on earth would you spend $800 for this thing without LTE when you like? If you've ever been on LTE, it's hard to go back.
Yeah.
And I don't care how great this phone is when it comes to that quad-core processor. If I can't have LTE on it, I don't really need it right now. I mean, there's a lot of Android devices that are snazzy. This is not going to get me to pay $800 for it.
What about $680?
I might do that. Where can I find that?
Just need to fly to Dubai,
That's
apparently.
all I got. I'm sure the ticket's nothing.
A Reddit user snapped a picture of an available now sign, meaning you can buy the Galaxy S3 today if you're in Dubai. He said he asked about it, and they told him $666. Then a Verge user actually reported that you could get the phone for the equivalent of $680. Just need a quick fly. It's fun in Dubai. You can hang out.
I've seen the S3. I like it. It's a cool phone. It is going to be a great phone. Here's the thing, though. There's going to be about 15 different versions of the Samsung Galaxy S3, and I hate that. Yeah. There's going to be the international version. There's going to be an AT&T version. There's going to be a Sprint and a Verizon version. There's going to be a T-Mobile version, which is also GSM, but it uses a 1700 megahertz band, so it's not going to be able to work with anyone else in the world. And they're going to make the casing just different enough so that you can't buy a Samsung Galaxy S3 case.
Well, here's the thing. It's going to be one phone everywhere else. It's only here. Well, I don't know. I say that. Maybe India and China will have different versions too. But in Europe, it's just one.
I don't understand what the benefit is in doing that. From Samsung's perspective, why does it benefit them more to differentiate the phone slightly throughout the entire...
Well, it doesn't benefit them. They have to. You want to be able to use it on AT&T?
No, I understand that. I understand that. But why make all of these subtle little differences? It's kind of like the one series.
I don't understand what you mean then.
He's talking about physical differences.
Yeah, just like... Yes, exactly. Design
I don't
differences.
know. Maybe because they're in there making a brand new phone anyway. The carriers say, hey, while you're doing a new production run, can you differentiate ours? I'm sure it's not Samsung's benefit. It's the carrier.
Like, for example, this is the S2. Every other phone has the camera this way. It's sideways. Here it's up and down because it's for the T-Mobile version, which means I can't use a case from any other S2. I have to have a T-Mobile specific case.
That's so annoying.
It is annoying. And it's got to be carrier specific. It's just one of those things where they want something to differentiate their product.
But is it as annoying as the new Zynga American Express card? Our final story.
Why don't you tell us, and we'll judge for ourselves.
American Express and Zynga are rolling out a credit card that rewards users with virtual currency. It will first roll out in Zynga's Farmville game, then expand to Cityville and Castleville and other titles. Farmville players get the chance to visit a Serve-branded farm. Serve is American Express's prepaid brand, where they can earn a virtual tiger. And 50,000 people have already liked the page and received the tiger. The Serve Farm, almost server farm, will prompt you to plant a virtual Serve money tree on your Serve farm, and then after you plant the tree, you can register to receive a Zynga Serve co-branded prepaid card in the mail. Then once you get the card, you have to link it to a bank account or another debit card or a credit card or cash. You can use Green Dot Money Pack to link it to cash because it's prepaid. And then you could start spending. And they only take 2.9% of each transaction. And then if you make 5 $25 or greater purchases, you get Farmville credits.
I hate everything about this.
It's that easy.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. This is like taking advantage of people who have gambling addictions and can't get out of Farmville.
Better than a kick to the head. This is worse.
I would rather have a kick to the head.
That is now my limit there.
Yeah. Would you like to have to use the Zynga Serve card or have a kick to the head, please?
Kick to the head, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
At least kick to the head is free.
Well, I mean, maybe not. The thing is, like, okay, the fact that you have to plant a tree first. I mean, and you say this could maybe take advantage of people who have gambling problems, but maybe they just like playing games, and they look. You know what? Even when I get a card, I want to play a game. The game is plant a tree, register, and do this, and then maybe get completely screwed on all the other terms of service. But it's a game they're playing anyway. The only thing cool about this, I think, is maybe the art on the card, which you can have customized on a number of other ones. So very little reason to get this, but I guess good for Zynga. Because their stock took a hit a while ago when Facebook opened up.
Good for Zynga and American Express. That seems to be the only people this
bad for you.
You could almost hear the conversation that must have taken place behind closed doors to make this product. I mean, some guys were saying, hey, this social gaming thing, it's getting big. We should have something in there. And then the marketing people came in and they said, well, we'll attach this finance rate and this fee. And by the way, we can't make it that easy for them to use the card. They have to go back. They have to collect their money from the magical money tree and so on and so forth. And then there's a social aspect. So do you want to share it with your friends and tell them they should use this card?
Right.
It's a big steaming pile of
It's like, look at my Farmville credit card. Isn't it neat and different than
It's a big pile of steaming fertilizer for your Farmville.
Well, there you go. Fertilizer bot.
Stinky, too.
You know what I smell? The news fuse.
You smell the fuse.
Because it lit.
Refreshing.
Tastes like home.
Asus new Ultrabooks, sold under the ZenBook Prime moniker, are headed to the United States, and they come with a starting price of less than $800. 4 models are upcoming. The lowest-end netbook comes with a Sandy Bridge processor, but the rest give you Ivy Bridge processors. All 4 will be offered with 1080p IPS displays, even on the tiny 11-inch model. Asus also tweaked the keyboard and now offers increased key travel and backlit keys.
The MPAA is going after a British couple who were found to be running streaming links to the site Surf the Channel. The two were discovered in a sting operation. UK authorities didn't pursue the case, but somewhat unusually, US authorities jumped into the UK case because one developer for the site was in the United States. His US case was dropped in exchange for his testimony in the UK trial.
Let's go on and check the World Series of IP cases. The jury. I was like, is he throwing the ball at me? The jury in the Google Oracle case is currently stuck to figure out technical aspects of Patent 104 about symbolic resolutions. Juicy stuff, huh? Judge William Alsup decided he'd tell the attorneys his opinion of their performance. Quote, once again, the lawyers were zero help, he said. Quote, you don't agree on anything, so I have to figure it out on my own. End quote.
He's a highly paid judge.
He probably went to law school, too.
Now, you know how hard Sarah's been working on her speaker system, especially if you've watched any of our pre or post shows. And I feel bad announcing this, but Sonos just introduced a wireless subwoofer, fittingly called the Sonos Sub.
Well, okay, what frequency does it use? Because my wireless sub doesn't work.
It uses
2.4 gigahertz.
Pay $700 and find out frequency. I don't know what frequency it uses,
well,
but it only costs $700.
Yes.
It'll be released in June in a high gloss finish. A matte version will be released in October for $600, and CNET called the demo, quote, pretty impressive.
It's very pretty, too.
And
it's a good-looking
emphasis
thing.
on the pretty.
It's not that cheap.
Just
okay.
you have the next day.
It's less when you...
No, I was pausing for emphasis, okay?
Oh, okay, fine.
Speakers get me really riled up.
I brought it up. That's my own fault.
It's a hot button issue right here.
In the world of brands, who has the most valuable brand anyway? According to Millward Brown's Brand Z Top 100 Most Valuable Global Brands 2012 survey,
A horribly
it's a real
branded
thing.
survey.
Apple has the most valuable brand, worth over $180 billion. IBM was number 2, Google number 3. The first non-tech company on the list is McDonald's at number 4. Okay. I don't know.
Making it great.
Just, yeah.
Well, maybe McDonald's is a tech company we don't even know.
You can have it your way.
I'm loving it.
That's Burger King.
Oh.
Online video network Machinima just raised $35 million in a funding round. Now, MK Capital, Redpoint Ventures, and Google were among the investors. Machinima said it's going to invest that money in expansion, global sales, and content.
Okay, content, good. California Senate just passed legislation that could eventually lead to more autonomous cars on the road. SB 1298 lets the Department of California Highway Patrol adopt rules and regulations to, quote, promote the safe operation of specific vehicles, meaning the self-driving ones, and authorizes the operation of an autonomous vehicle if certain conditions are met. So now in the game with Nevada, self-driving car can go all the way to Tahoe and back.
Nice.
Yeah.
VIA launched a new Android-based PC under $50. It's called the APC, and VIA's VP of Marketing described it as like a bicycle for your mind.
He's the VP of Marketing, too.
Let's go into specs. All right, you're looking at a custom version of Android 2.3 running on an ARM-based VIA processor running at 800 megahertz. 512 megabytes of RAM, 2 gigabytes of onboard storage. Ports include VGA out, HDMI out, and 4 USB 2.0 ports. The product is expected to ship in early July.
You know what we haven't talked about in a while?
What?
Apple rumors.
Yay.
Mac rumors published images of what looks to be a new iPod Touch front panel, but it would have a 4.1-inch screen and something called a home button, because there were rumors that the home button would go away.
Oh, okay.
In the iPhone world, there appears to be a new design for its front-facing camera, suggesting an internal redesign, another juicy tidbit. Another rumor says iPhone's getting a 3.95-inch screen with a 16:9 aspect ratio. So what do we know so far as a fact? Nothing.
Yeah, but it's like a bicycle for your mind.
Yes.
And so is the randomizer.
Randomizer.
The SpaceX rocket successfully took off this morning, did its docking thing. It's awesome. But one thing that's getting the headlines is that it carried the ashes of James Doohan, the guy who played Scotty in Star Trek.
Now, I could have sworn his ashes were already taken up into space.
Yeah, we were talking about this pre-show. We're like, well, didn't Scotty already go into space? Or were we just thinking of Gene Roddenberry? Because I think his ashes went into space. We did a little digging. It turns out that April 28th, 2007, some of Scotty's ashes, along with Mercury astronaut Gordon Cooper, were launched on the Spaceloft XL rocket and went on a 4-minute suborbital flight, but they came back to Earth. Then the ashes were launched on the Falcon 1 rocket on August 3rd, 2008. That was intended for low Earth orbit. However, the rocket failed 2 minutes after launch. The rest of his ashes were scattered over Puget Sound, except for a small amount that were carried on the SpaceX rocket this morning.
So beam me up again
it's
and again.
The thought that counts,
again.
I guess.
You can't launch him much more.
Persistence pays off.
He's racking up some miles. That's pretty impressive. I mean, he's been gone for a while, but he's been in space like 3 times.
I know.
Good for him, I think.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Oh, Tom.
All right. Had to say it. Let's take a break and thank our sponsor, Citrix's Share File. If you want to share files from your company, do you have what it takes to do that? You can't email them. Sometimes your email program just won't accept something as big as you need to send. You got a big 700-page legal document. You don't want to. That's not an attachment. Plus, it's confidential. You don't want to be just dropping it anywhere on the net where anybody can access it. And you want to collaborate. You want to collaborate with clients and coworkers. Send and share important documents. All needs to be done in real time. It needs to be done securely. What do? We recommend ShareFile by Citrix. ShareFile is secure file sharing built specifically for businesses, offers you a full suite of desktop and mobile options that enable businesses to easily collaborate from anywhere, anytime. Got an Outlook plugin. If you're using Outlook, allows you to easily send and receive files of almost any size right from Outlook. So it's just like attaching to the email, except without the downside. You no longer need to wonder if a file is too big to send. You just send it. You know it's secure. You know you can collaborate on it. Perfect solution for any business. Get started today with this special risk-free offer for our listeners, a 30-day free trial plus not only 30 days free, but double storage. Remember, get our special offer. Visit sharefile.com, click on the radio microphone, and enter our promo code TNT. That's sharefile.com. Click the mic, type in TNT. And we thank ShareFile and Citrix for their support of Tech News Today. And we also thank Sarah Lane for telling us what's on the calendar.
LG is planning to preview its 55-inch OLED TV tomorrow at an event in Monaco as part of the Grand Prix Auto Race. You're probably already going, so you can just swing by.
Nice.
LG says that the TV won't go on sale until the second half of this year, but we're getting there.
Maybe I can sell my 6 shares of TravelZoo and cash in and fly to Monaco.
Maybe you can.
I need to disclose that I own 6.
Here comes that private
Hold on to
jet.
those, man.
It would be money well spent.
Yeah, I'll take that $160.
The Verizon Jetpack 890L hotspot goes on sale May 24th for $20 on contract after a $50 mail-in rebate, so tiny bit of a hassle. 3G speeds in over 125 countries. Up to 10 devices can connect to the hotspot at once. This is the less expensive version of 2 hotspots from Verizon that they announced at CES. This one is a little bit bigger, and I guess the LED screen is less cool. I think it has less brightness. And finally, the Tesla Model S is coming June 22nd to the first wave of customers who reserved back over 3 years ago.
See, I should have sold my shares earlier so I could.
So you could have gotten on that list.
You could buy an
Yeah.
air freshener, I think you sold earlier.
I gotta pick mine up now.
The Model S is, I mean, this has been it's their sort of their first sedan style electric car that's not some fancy sports car that only a couple people can be in. I think it retails for around $85,000, so not cheap, but less expensive than some of the other Tesla models.
Did you pre-order one, Robert?
Of course. I mean, all Jesuits are going to have one of these things. It's just priests and electric cars.
You want a recruiting tool there, let me tell you.
For spirit.
You drive up, all the Jesuits have a Tesla Model S. What are you talking? I'm in.
We roll deep. We roll deep.
Let's check what's incoming.
Incoming message.
I know that you probably don't think we need to talk about Mark Zuckerberg's wedding anymore, but we did get a very pertinent question that needs to be answered about the catering.
Hey, guys, awesome show. Hey, I'm just wondering, since Mark Zuckerberg eats what he kills, and only eats what he kills, did he kill everything for the catering and the wedding?
Did he hunt down the wedding cake himself?
I don't know, probably.
Is he still doing that? The whole thing where he's like,
How would I know?
I will only eat meat if I hunt it. Sarah,
Last time you talked to him, right?
Why
This
am I
is
looking
an
at you?
impossible question to answer.
Iyaz, do you know?
I'm pretty
Who's
sure.
got Zuckerberg on speed dial? Iyaz, when did you call
Nothing
him?
has changed as
Maybe
far
he
as
can
I
answer
know.
this himself.
I've been reading the feeds. I watched the social hour. I don't think I've heard anything about him changing his plans. He doesn't kill everything he eats. He eats things he kills. It's not like he goes around.
He has a vegetarian diet unless he
Right.
has hunted it himself.
I
It's a
think
way
they
of
brought it to the
taking
wedding and he
responsibility.
killed it there. I think there was like a line.
It was
part of the ceremony.
You're married. Now prepare.
Surprise!
Part of the surprise. There will be blood.
Finally, email to TNT@twit.tv. Renard writes, I can't believe you all didn't talk about how anonymous hackers were taking credit this weekend for taking down the City of Chicago website and the Chicago Police Department website in support of the protesters at the NATO summit held in Chicago this past weekend. If I'm correct, both sites were down for approximately an hour. I just knew you all were going to talk about it. I don't have a Reddit account, but I didn't fathom you wouldn't mention it. News reports in Chicago talked about it, but I wanted to know what my favorite tech people had to say about it. There's also a story today about Anonymous, someone from Anonymous claiming to be from Anonymous, taking some Department of Justice documents and putting on Pasteman. I feel like this happens a lot, so I'm not sure when. It has to be really significant to get the buzz for us to talk about it. I mean, that's why we don't talk about every one of these.
And then it's hard to verify at times because you're like, okay, was it anonymous? Was it not?
Well,
And
yeah, and various parts of Anonymous say, well, no, that wasn't us. That was somebody saying it was us. And hacks happen all the time. At this point, it's sort of expected. And it has to be, I don't know, it has to have some sort of other impact other than just being, the website was down for an hour or so.
It's gotten to the point where it's like graffiti, and I don't report on every piece of graffiti I see as I'm driving down the freeway. You just expect it to happen, and if it's just a denial of service attack, I really don't care.
The Pasteman thing from the DOJ, we had it in the news views actually, and I decided to take it out because we had this email to talk about. That's something bigger than just a DDoS, but even then, I'm not sure what the implications were.
Right.
It depends on what kind of information is made public and that sort of thing. But so there you go, Renard. If you're wondering why we don't report on those as often as maybe we did when Anonymous was new and the hacks didn't come as often.
Yeah, you're too familiar. Anonymous, you need a new name. Like when Lulsec showed up, we're like, yeah, we'll talk about Lulsec for a week. No,
and Lulsec was just Anonymous.
I'm not saying for Anonymous to do anything. So technically.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. If you'd like to submit a story for us to cover, you can go to our subreddit, technewstoday.reddit.com at any time. Be one of the folks that votes things up or down. You don't even have to do the submitting. You can just do the voting. There's Scotty being beamed up on the Falcon rocket right there at the top right now. 6,780 folks in there. Join them. technewstoday.reddit.com. Father Robert Ballecer, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Always much, much better than a kick in the head to have you on the show.
Yes, and it's great to be back in Petaluma again. I think I've been up here way too many times. I might be addicted.
I almost feel like you're in the area, but you're like all the way on the other side of the continent.
coast.
Yeah,
in DC.
I know.
But I fly in for this.
I appreciate that, and thank you for being here and coming in person, and let folks know about TechStop and what they can find.
Right.
there.
So you can go to www.thetechstop.net. You can find out everything that's going on. Right now I'm in I'm doing a great debate series. I'm talking about the evils of Apple and their manufacturing process. And then on the other side, I have my sister and my cousin, Melanie and Danny Ballecer, telling me they don't care. Or you can follow me on Twitter at PadreSJ, or you could follow me in about a month and a half here at the TWiT Network because we're going to be starting up the new Enterprise show.
That's awesome. We've been talking about an Enterprise show forever. Yeah. We finally found the right person.
It is coming.
Yay.
Check it out, folks, and thank you for joining us. You can find us on the web at twit.tv/TNT. You can email us. Our email address is tnt@twit.tv, or give us a call. Our phone number is 260-TNT-SHOW. Expect some Diablo talk tomorrow because we've got the Terpster, Mark Turpin, joining us. We'll see you then.